So, hello everyone, this is a channel about engines. Today we're going to take apart this engine. This engine was removed from a bus, specifically from the Pazik of our company. But the engine installed here is Cummins. So the reason for removing this engine, oil is flying everywhere. There's oil in the intake manifold and oil in the exhaust manifold. They already installed a new turbo here, installed it right on the spot. They thought maybe the turbo was throwing oil, so they put in a new turbo. The problem didn't go away and the engine is still venting crankcase gases. Here we just have a hose coming out from under the engine pointing down, but gases are still coming out of it. So it was decided to remove the engine. We disassembled the engine completely to inspect what happened. It could be cylinder wear, piston group issues, etc. We take it apart, check for defects, purchase the needed parts, and reassemble the engine. So the engine was removed from the car and brought to my workshop on this kind of frame. So now my task is to remove the gearbox. Also, I want to show that the gearbox installed here is a ZFZF model 542. Well, it's pretty small in size, about the same as a ZIL gearbox. I've never seen gearboxes like this before. Usually I work with bigger ones, starting from model 690 and up, with 8-speed, 16-speed, and so on. I've never done anything like this before. It would be interesting, of course, to take it apart and have a look, but the gearbox here is in good condition, so we won't touch it. I'm taking it off. The gearbox, I'm removing the engine from the frame, unscrewing the bolts, the mounts, and then I'm taking the engine to the workbench. There you need to check if the oil has been drained or not. So we're taking it apart, removing the intake pipes as usual. We see the engine, we have the systems, the fuel pump, the fuel rail, and here are the fuel lines. There we have the injectors with wires, solenoid valves, that's all. That's the scope of work. Let's begin. So I removed the flywheel, took off the flywheel cover, and we can see the timing gears are located at the back of the engine, that is under the flywheel cover. Well, for example, let's say on the MAN it's 2866 and so on. So this is the camshaft gear housing. As we can see, there's a mark and a gear that goes on the crankshaft, and we can't really see it well because of this part here. And there is a tooth that should align with this mark. It just has a bevel. It's about 45 degrees. I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera, but it's visible. All the teeth are at a 90-degree angle, and this one is beveled at a 45-degree angle. These are the timing marks, so only the crankshaft and camshaft are aligned. Everything else is installed arbitrarily. Here we have the compressor, here we have the fuel pump. Also we can see there is an intermediate plate here. Now I need to remove the gear from the camshaft and also unscrew some bolts around here, just like that, all around, and remove this intermediate plate. Then I'll just have to remove it. Here we also have a plate on the side of the oil pan, and in the front here I need to remove the pulley and take off the front cover. Well, that's basically it. Next we'll start taking out the pistons, removing the shafts and so on. So under the cylinder I haven't found anything critical so far. There is a slight wear there, you can feel it by touch, but it's really minor, literally less than 1/10 of a millimeter. But we can see that there is this kind of carbon deposit on the pistons, so it's clear that oil has been burning. And also on the cylinder head itself, for example, on the valves, we can also see this layer of carbon buildup. Currently there are no ideas about what, why, or how. Well, as usual, we won't guess. Now we'll first completely disassemble the engine, then we'll also take out the camshaft, remove it, check the condition of the rocker arms, all that, and so on. And only at the end will we draw some conclusions. I'm removing the pistons. And what do we see? We see that the rings are already worn to the limit. For example, the top compression ring. Look how loose it is in its groove. That is, the ring itself is moving around. And we can also see the oil control ring. It's almost entirely worn out. That is, I think if you install it in the cylinder liner now, there will be a gap, well, starting from, I don't know, about 4 to 5 millimeters. So, that is, our rings are simply worn out, and accordingly there is wear on the cylinder liners. So we definitely need new pistons because the groove is worn out. Also, pistons assembled with rings. I don't know, the piston pin bushing in principle probably can even be left as it is. These are preliminary thoughts. We'll figure it out later, take measurements and wash everything. The bearings will be new. Alright, everything is clear with the towers. Let's take out the crankshaft and the camshaft. I doubt there will be camshaft related questions with the solution. At first glance, it seems like everything is just fine. So I took out the camshaft, took out the lifters, and basically there are no questions either. Is the camshaft staying old, and are the lifters also staying old? And here's what I want to say. We can see that the lifter is small, but overall the engine itself is small.
Yes, but this support pad which rests against the cam lobe is of such a large diameter.
It's larger than an MAN engine, which is 2,876, or a Mercedes and so on. Alright, so I'll take the measurements right away. So far, we can feel wear in the cylinders by touch. The wear is noticeable at the level of the second compression ring, or even around the oil scraper ring. And there's a kind of step there, you can feel it well, but it's a smooth one, not sharp. Usually this kind of wear happens when...
Well, if the engine is taking in dust, then we take measurements.
I set the indicator to 102 millimeters. Our piston is at 102. And we look, here we have 102, 102. And now here is the place with the most wear. It's 101.9. So 90 degrees. So it means, as we can see, the biggest wear is on the third cylinder, as I said, in the area of the two compression rings, that is one compression ring. It's already so worn down that it doesn't create any resistance at all. And in this place, carbon buildup is already accumulating on the liner itself, and the two compression rings are already scraping the liner itself. We can see here that in some places it's almost 3/10. I found the biggest pit to be negative 0.28, which is already 100%. Repair pistons are needed, so I will recommend getting repair pistons.
The block will go for fitting work, that is, it will need to be bored and honed.
I'm unsure how this will turn out for us. It's not a fact that pistons of standard size will be purchased, and that we'll just install them as they are. These are just my initial thoughts for now. We'll see what the final decision will be. And right away, just for clarity, so we can understand what thermal gap we have in the piston rings. So this is our oil control ring. Well, it's about 3 to 4 millimeters here, maybe 3.5 millimeters. So this is our second compression ring. Here the gap is about 1.5 to 2 millimeters. And this is our top compression ring. Here it's also more than 3 millimeters. So I want to sort out the valves right away, and also check the condition of the valves, the guide bushings, and then we'll draw some conclusions. So I took out the valves, removed them, and what can I say? Well, basically, the valves look like they need to be replaced. That is, this working edge here, it's already thin. You can see that it's worn out. Well, in general, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll try to machine a couple of valves from mine on the lathe, see what the result is, and then we'll make a decision. A decision only about the valves. I won't say anything yet. We'll work with them some more and see. So regarding the guides, there are definitely some that can be replaced, like for example on cylinders 3 and 4, the exhaust guides for the intake valve, there's quite a bit of play there. For example, if we take the first cylinder, the intake valves, it seems like when else would you need to? In general, I'll wash the head too. I'll decide about the valves and guides after washing it and assessing if anything needs to be done. A surface grinding machine will be needed, but the same goes for the guides as well. So the engine is disassembled. Let's sum up the results. Well, overall, the condition of the engine is actually pretty good, considering its mileage. If I find out, I'll write here how many miles this engine has already done. The main problem is the wear of the cylinder piston group, as suspected. This happened due to the wear of the components. We'll keep looking. I'll check the entire intake system there, maybe some hoses or something like that. That is, maybe somewhere dust is getting in the air manifold bypassing the filter, so what are we going to do? But ideally, of course, these are repair pistons that are 0.5 millimeter larger. That is 102.5, and the block needs to be bored accordingly. Then install new repair pistons with new rings. And that means, as for the rest, the bearings need to be replaced, obviously, both the main and the connecting rod bearings. Well, that's basically it, I guess, but of course, that also includes all the gaskets, seals, and so on. So the fuel injectors will need to be sent out for testing. As for the rest, everything is actually pretty good. The crankshaft stays as is. I'll go over it, clean, polish it, and the camshaft too. There are no questions about it either. As for the bushings, I don't know. I'll take another look, but maybe we won't even have to replace the piston pin bushings. I just mentioned the cylinder head. I'll clean it, inspect it, and possibly replace the guides and valves. And I'll also say a few words about the engine itself. It's small, compact, and in my opinion, very well made. And considering how long it's been running, its condition is actually quite good. That's it. So that's all for this video. So I'll be finishing up with the disassembly in this video. In the next episode, we'll be assembling this engine, and as usual, I'll try to film the installation in the car, the first start, and so on. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Good luck to all. Bye.